Ooh, fantastic. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, what a room.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
So this was the sort of formal drawing room.
Okay. So I can see you've kept with the pinks and the blues. It's lovely, and soft and. So you must have again memories of.
Yes.
Here.
This was kind of when you're a child in the adult room. Suddenly, they're kind of the scary places. But this was always the kind of Christmas room. So we had big Christmas tree behind us, which very strangely we always spray painted white.
Did you?
Which
I think I saw a photo in.
There was a photo.
In the family room there.
Which is an odd tradition. And it was always very important to have proper candles as well.
Yes.
And
so English, I love it. and Scottish, I'm sure.
So unbelievably dangerous and flammable. So as children, you with a spray painted sort of petrol Christmas tree, you then cover with candles, and you'd have these sort of candle snuffers, sort of long sort of kind of metal pole with a little sort of bell on top. And it was the children's job to run around the tree and spot the candles, which were sort of getting to within like 2 millimeters of the of the branches, and sort of put them out. So that was
goodness.
So this was very much a kind of
I was about to say, are you
absolutely not?
So that stopped. So you've just got a lovely photo in there, and you've got some good memories.
Yes.
Fantastic. So tell me just a little bit more about how this idea came to be to take it from what it was once as a family home. You mentioned you came here when you were dating, and then of course afterwards. What was the point that you both sat down and thought, right, let's create this into something that others can enjoy?
In a way, we, as the family started to sort of move on with their lives, we felt that it was still a really sort of wonderful house and home and place for the family to hopefully sort of be able to still use on holidays and such. But the reality was that after sort of 40 years of after it had sort of last been renovated, that something needed to be done to rejuvenate it and bring it sort of back to life again. And so we sat down, and that's where we started to come up with the idea of refurbishing it so that others could then also come and use it. And in a way, it was part of our kind of wider sort of desire around the estate to diversify and to invest and to start to try and grow the hospitality and sort of tourism within Dumfriesshire. And there weren't and there aren't that many sort of large accommodation offerings around this area, and it really gave us that sort of opportunity to create something really exciting and new and amazing for people to come and experience. Just like sort of I had done and the family had done growing up here.
Yeah, and then keeping with, you know, sort of the color schemes and putting on the walls sort of, you know, not just art that you're sort of getting at the local shop or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like it has real meaning behind it. And Elizabeth, did you feel, I mean, you mentioned earlier that, you know, you were watching and learning. And then when this project, when the two of you decided, right, we're going to do this together, were you nervous? You're like, I'm going to actually do this all on my own. And because you're also a young mother, you're young parents. I mean, where did you find the time?
I mean, I was nervous in terms of it was important to me that Walter's family didn't feel like we were sort of riding roughshod over their childhood memories.
Right.
And it was also, you know, you can do something you can have quite a well-defined sense of your own taste, but that might be very different from everyone else's.
Yeah.
So I was nervous that I wouldn't create something that other people enjoyed as much as perhaps we might. But at the same time, it's an exciting project. It's something completely different from me. I have no professional experience, and it's always good to broaden your repertoire.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's wonderful just to see the color schemes that you've done, but also the pictures on the wall, the furniture. And tell me just a little bit about the furniture. Is some of the furniture really from the Buccleuch family, from what you grew up, that was here when you grew up?
I mean, a lot of the furniture, especially the kind of the old brown furniture, was part of the Dabton fabric, in a way. And the piano there is the piano which we had here as sort of all throughout my childhood.
Right.
And we felt it was really important not only to reuse things. There's no point sort of wasting this wonderful furniture, which some of it would have been sort of made 100 years ago or 150 years ago, and it was made with absolute sort of amazing craftsmanship, and they were built to last, and so why change it? And being able to bring those elements of the old, but then also have a contemporary new sort of approach, I think sort of works really beautifully in a house like this, because it sort of respects the history, but is also sort of modern and fresh and forward thinking.
Yeah, because there is this thing with brown furniture. I mean, I have a slight obsession with it, probably too much, because but that could be the American in me. But you've done a fantastic job in sort of delicately placing them, but again, having that touch of contemporary in here as well. But that must have been difficult to be able to curate that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with brown furniture. It went out of fashion, which is ludicrous because it is so beautifully made that it seems such a shame to overlook it in favour of something modern off the high street, which doesn't have the same production qualities at all.
No.
And it's also very beautiful, or can be.
It can be.
So I think once when you're looking at a room, if you work out what you want to keep from the room, again, that gives you structure for what you can bring in. But again, it's just feeling your way along and slightly hoping for the best. And also remembering that, a colour is a colour. It's a lick of paint. And if it's a disaster, you can do another lick of paint and not getting too het up about it.
And did you ever have that moment when it went on the wall and you were like, oh, or did you feel pretty confident because you'd spent a lot of time sort of doing the work for the research?
I didn't see quite a lot of the decoration period because that coincided exactly when I had a baby, and I'm not sure the contractors would have been delighted about having a newborn on site. So the first time I came, when more of the bedrooms had been painted, I was a bit nervous because some of the colours are a little bit punchy, and maybe if I had my time again I might not have done them, but at the same time actually I'm really pleased with how it all came out, and sometimes you have to be a bit bold.
You do.
Because I think also when people are coming to stay somewhere, they want something a bit different to what's in their home. So they might not necessarily want to live every day with bold colours on their wall, but actually for a few nights or a week, it's quite nice to have something different.
Yeah, very cheery as well. So remind me again, when did you sort of open it up for exclusive hire? It's recently, is that right?
It is. It was just about a year ago.
Right. Wow.
That we opened the doors. It was sort of September last year.
Oh my gosh! So not even a year.
So not even a year. So
we came with your two sisters and their families as the first guests at when was it? It was the end of July. And, the morning before your family arrived, we were running around desperately hanging pictures.
And
measuring
things up.
The house was still full of people, getting the last bits of carpet down, which was because, as you know, any building project runs over.
Yes, way over, yep.
So it was unfortunate it wasn't quite finished. But so we were the first people in. But then September was really got going.
And it's the first time we've done something like this, you open up the doors and you there's a slight degree of sort of nervousness about sort of how people will react to it. And we've been amazed about the kind of the comments which have come back, which have all been sort of wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think that's testament to what you've, Elizabeth,
while having a
has
baby
created. And also because I think because we wanted it to really still feel and be a kind of family home, and so and that takes time, because you can't create a family home overnight. You know, it takes time to put all that sort of feel and sort of atmosphere into a place. But that's what we were really trying to achieve.
And I think that's the real difference here, as opposed to something that's just primarily and really only as, you know, a exclusive hire, and that's it, and the family never comes back and they don't touch it again. You're here with me today, you stayed before, you know, sort of it opened, you come back. And so, and I think that, you know, I've only seen 2 rooms, but the thought that has gone into this is to make sure that it's been sympathetically done, furnished, and still has that feeling of a family home. And that's what's wonderful, because it doesn't, a lot of times you can go into places and it's very stark and it doesn't have that sort of touch. Yeah. And right away I'm in room 2 and I feel like I'm in your home. That's what's so brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, we really do still use it as a home. We were here a few months ago with a number of other families. I think we had something like 14 children. Really put the house through its paces. But it was great because it felt like what it should be, which is a house full of families and children and friends.
It's brilliant. And so just tell me a little bit more. We're here, you know, the spot we're in within the beautiful Queensberry Estate, and you can do lots of activities around here, so much. Is that right?
Yeah. So when I was growing up, we would spend, during the summer holidays, most of our time outside.
Right.
Either going on long sort of bike rides, sort of up through the less steep sort of hills. You know, going to Drumlanrig Castle and the river there, the River Nith, which runs next to it, and this sort of wonderful adventure playground. And then you would also sort of head then right up into the hills and go to, there's this wonderful ruined castle called Morton Castle, which has this loch around it, and you'd go sort of camping and fishing and just enjoying the outdoors, really.
Right.
You know, finding a stream to have a little swim in and being in nature.
Yeah.
That's what this area is all about, really. It's about being able to explore and enjoy a wonderful, beautiful, varied landscape.
Exactly.
And actually you get more sun than people think. Which is,
listen, I've been very happy in Scotland. I've never seen so much sun. I mean, I feel, you know, it definitely trumps England. I've only seen grey and rain in West Dorset. Here I'm like, wait, what? There's no rain. But it's interesting what you say, that point about getting outside, and I think we can all agree here that we have come into this sort of a generation where it's sitting on digital tablets. You know, it's being, you know, in newspapers reported about all of the time that children and even as adults, we're not getting out as much as we really ought to and need to. Yeah. And so just, you know, mentioning that to me, that's what you did in your childhood was, yes, you were here to sleep and eat your meals, but you were outside. Yeah. And we've got to get back to that. And this is the perfect place for this.
Well, this was absolutely wonderful. And while it is a large house, it's also a very comfy, very cozy, very, very sort of warm house. And so we would, as soon as we'd had finished breakfast, we would just be out of the doors, and you can spend all day outside. Yeah. There's these beautiful gardens, which, you know, we would sort of charge around, and the woods and tracks to bike on and such. And this house was inviting. It invites you outside. The big windows, these sort of big doors going outside, being able to go straight from the kitchen sort of and run out. You know, the place was almost sort of designed to get you to go outside in a way.
No, exactly. And I mean,
which
the
is
windows are
wonderful.
fantastic, the light that comes
Yeah.
in, and then you just see the outdoors calling you, saying,
Yeah.
you know, let's go for a stroll.
And then adversely, in the winter, it's the sort of house where it's a cold, dark, wet day, and you see the warm glow of all the lights inside, and so it invites you back in.
Yeah, yeah.
And has the opposite effect, which is why it's such a special place.
Yeah.
Really.
I think you mentioned that there's 11 bedrooms.
Yes.
Is that right? And
Yeah.
one of them is named Montagu.
Yes. Yes. It is. Yeah.
So tell me about naming the rooms. I mean, because obviously one's named Montagu. I'm very keen
Yeah.
on that.
So we really we spent a bit of time trying to work out sort of whether the name should be names or numbers or anything, but
Yes.
but actually being able to tie the house back to the family and its history was a really important statement from us to try and sort of make sure that Dabton does retain that kind of family feel.
Yes.
And it was a sort of a simple way
Yeah.
in a way just to achieve that.
Right, because you do have, there are several surnames, aren't there?
Yes, yes. So we have Montagu,
Yes.
Douglas, and Scott.
Exactly.
The Douglas side of the family were Dumfriesshire, and that's what Drumlanrig Castle and Queensberry was
Okay.
where the Douglas family came from.
Right.
The Scott of Buccleuch were in the borders, Scottish borders, and then
Okay.
obviously the Montagues
In
or our Montagues were
Northamptonshire.
in Northamptonshire.
Yeah.
And with each of those names came a different sort of seat. And
Okay.
so you have Drumlanrig Castle in Dumfriesshire, Bowhill House in the Scottish borders, and Boughton House.
Right.
And so that was our sort of main basis for 6
Yeah.
rooms. And then various other surnames, like the ducal surname, Buccleuch and Queensberry,
Right.
as well. So that was our kind of basis.
History to get your head round as an incomer.
Yes. So can I just
Yeah.
ask though, when, you know, so technically, I mean, we'll just do it, but when you sign your surname, you're signing Montagu Douglas Scott, aren't you?
So that the Montagu Douglas Scott is the sort of the overarching sort of family name, and then my father has the title of the Duke of Buccleuch.
Clue,
and Queensberry.
exactly.
And Elizabeth and I have the title of the Earl and Countess of Dalkeith,
Right.
which was the traditional title
Yes.
for the first son of
Right. Yes. No, of course. So you do sign Dalkeith, and also it's shorter. So I'm the
Yes.
opposite, because the title side is Hinchingbrook, really long. So we prefer to just sign everything Montagu.
Yes. Makes it a lot easier.
It's true.
The majority of family members just use Scott. Because
Yeah.
otherwise passports become a nightmare.
Exactly. What other rooms do you have on the ground floor?
Next door to this, we have a lovely library, which was always the library, and a dining room, kitchen. There is one bedroom downstairs, and then the boot room and all that sort of
Love a
stuff.
boot
So,
room.
Let's look at the dining room because it has the most beautiful wallpaper, which was hand drawn by a cousin of your father's when your parents were
Moved in.
refurbishing the house.
yeah.
It's all been hand drawn and hand painted, and
Yeah.
it's really something special.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.